Should you wait for the iPhone 14? Is Apple about to revolutionize the smartphone again? With the March event rumored to be right around the corner and just the non-stop leaks on new iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, Macs, and other cool Apple products, now might be the good time to ask yourself the question, should you buy now or should you wait? Should you believe the leaks and rumors or disregard them and just buy now if you need it? If you're thinking about buying something new, stop a second, watch this video, because I've got 8 important things that you need to know before you buy something new from Apple, because trust me, you do not want to make a mistake. Now, I know it seems a little early to start covering the iPhone 14, but believe it or not, we are fast approaching the halfway point between the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14, since it's been about 6 months since the iPhone 13 launched back in 2021, and Apple is supposedly bringing the heat this year with some massive changes to the iPhone 14. But when you look at the rumors for that phone and rumors for all these Apple products launching at the March event and other stuff launching later this, summer and spring and fall and all that stuff, it's a good time to sort of ask yourself, well, is it worth buying now? Is, getting a good product right now worth it? Or should you wait if the leaks and rumors are true? Of course, the tried and true sort of advice still remains true. If you need something right now, buy it. Do not sort of wait based off of leaks and rumors and what could be happening or what could not be happening. But there are a couple of products that it looks like there is some definitive information that definitely makes you want to wait for the big upgrades coming right around the corner. Let's kick things off with what will be probably the star of the show here at the spring event, and that is an all-new iPhone SE Generation 3, iPhone SE 3, whatever you want to call it, and I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet to the point. Not a whole lot is expected to change here. There were some rumors of a massive redesign with a hole punch and maybe Touch ID built into the power button and 2 cameras. These renders look awesome, but according to leaks and rumors, they're not going to become reality until next year. Maybe the iPhone SE 4 will bring some bigger changes in 2023, but for this year, expect more of the same with the iPhone SE, at least on the outside. That iPhone 8 design is sticking around, you've got the same display, same Touch ID, but on the inside, there are some pretty good improvements here. We should be getting 5G support, which will be really nice to see, a new, more modern 8 chip, probably the A15 Bionic, straight from the iPhone 13, so that's also nice to see, and then I'd expect probably some minor camera improvements, either through hardware, software, both of those combined. By all accounts, the iPhone SE 3 should be better than the iPhone SE 2. If you've got an older iPhone or you've got even the original iPhone SE, don't wait any longer. Just go ahead and get this new iPhone SE 3 when it launches, because you'll be very, very happy with the improvements, especially the value you're getting for the price. Now, what could also be the star of the show for this spring event could be the Mac Mini. Now, this is a very sort of odd Mac in 2022, and it really is a relic of Apple's past, because this was the machine that was the go-to for PC switchers. If you had a keyboard, a mouse, a display, and your PC tower, you could easily get that big bulky tower out of there, put in a Mac Mini, and you would be good to go. And it's nice that the Mac Mini has stuck around and even has the M1 chip these days, but it hasn't gotten a whole lot of love and attention and any major redesign in quite some time, but all of that could change very, very soon. Rumor has it the new Mac Mini should be getting a nice redesign with colors, this cool 2-tone design on the outside, and a bunch of great ports on the back. I'm talking a mix of USB-C, USB-A, HDMI, an Ethernet port, and a MagSafe style power connector on the back, which should be really great. And by all accounts, this is looking like a really nice refresh of the Mac Mini, but wait till we get inside. That's because, according to leaks and rumors, some even bigger changes are coming to the inside with the introduction of the M1 Pro and the M1 Max. Yes, you can get sort of the best of the Apple Silicon experience from the MacBook Pro now in a hopefully more affordable and stationary Mac with the Mac Mini. There should be a couple of different configs here, maybe M1, M1 Pro, M1 Max, or maybe just sort of the Pro models. Not exactly sure what Apple's going to call it or how they're going to price it, but we could be seeing a new Mac Mini very soon. So if you've waited this long, definitely wait a little longer, because hopefully this new Mac Mini is coming right around the corner with some really big upgrades. upgrades. Now, while all that is good, there is sort of some bad news here if you're waiting for some other, more Pro Macs, because it looks like things might be delayed just a bit. Specifically with the iMac Pro, if you have been waiting for this, you might just have to wait a little bit longer, but the wait should certainly be worth it. This is supposed to have an all-new design. Either it's sort of a love child between the Pro Display XDR and the current new iMac design, or maybe it's a bigger version of the 24-inch iMac we have right now. Whatever Apple lands on will no doubt be a radical departure from the older space gray iMac Pro we saw a number of years ago on the inside and out. On the inside, you should have your choice of M1 Pro, M1 Max, or maybe even a more Max version of the M1 Max. And on the outside, just lots of great upgrades here. We should see a 27-inch ProMotion mini LED display, so bright, vibrant, beautiful, plus up to 120 Hz, which is super cool for the iMac Pro. And also a great selection of ports on the back should be coming to this iMac Pro as well. It seems like it's sort of this dream all-in-one machine really made for the pros, but according to display analyst Ross Young, looks like there are some issues getting those mini LED panels ready for this new iMac Pro, so that might delay the launch of this just a bit until maybe a few months to WWDC, maybe later on in the spring, or maybe some other time whenever Apple deems it's appropriate to launch this machine. So we thought it was a done deal for the spring event, but it doesn't look like it's gonna happen, so just goes to show leaks and rumors can change just like that. Next up, let's talk iPad. If you have been in the market for a new iPad, specifically an iPad Air, then I've got some great news for you because the new iPad Air should be coming very, very soon. Now, don't expect any radical changes on the outside here. Probably still gonna have the same design, same colors, same Touch ID built with the power button, same display, all that stuff. But on the inside, we should be getting, like the iPhone SE3, a new, more powerful A-series chip. We should be getting 5G connectivity built in, and center stage technology, sort of that tech that sort of moves with you if you're on a FaceTime call or a Zoom call, should be coming to the iPad Air as well. So it should be perfect if you're, on a FaceTime call or doing some remote learning or anything like that. That'll be built into the new iPad Air that should be launching as soon as this March event in just a couple of weeks. If you're in the market for an iPad mini, that was sort of just announced, so you're good to go ahead and buy that. And same sort of for the base iPad as well. Those were just sort of refreshed and announced, and you are good to purchase those. You have my blessing as your Apple guru. But the iPad Pro, that's a tougher decision to make. If you're in the market for an iPad Pro, you could buy now or you could wait depending on the model you're going with. What we're hearing right now from multiple sources is that the iPad Pro is expected to get a radical redesign, a refreshed design, but we're not exactly sure what that means. There have been some rumors that the new iPad Pros could get MagSafe or wireless charging built into the back, but besides that, it's not really clear what Apple is intending to change with the design. There are some big changes coming though to the display. According to Dylan DKT, both the 11 and 12.9-inch iPad Pro models will both get mini LED displays. So that was just an exclusive feature of the 12.9-inch model from last year, but this year looks like both will get this new high-end display, which is really nice to see. And also on the inside, Apple is expected to bring us the M2 processor, the successor to the M1, which is nice if you want the most power and the most efficiency possible. You are going to want the 2022 iPad Pro. But some bad news here. It looks like Apple is sort of shifting the launch of the M2 either to the summer or the fall. It's not expected at the spring event. So because of that, the iPad Pro is not expected to be launching at the spring event. It might launch later on in the spring, summer, or maybe even as late as the fall. Next up, let's get into the juicy rumors here and talk all about iPhone 14. And this is where things get both exciting and also a little controversial. So by all accounts, everything we know right now from multiple sources, the iPhone 14 is going to be just a massive upgrade. We're talking an all new refreshed design, very similar to the iPhone 4 from 2010, round volume buttons and all. We're looking at a huge upgrade to the main camera on the back, and of course on the front, the notch is shrinking dramatically down from the notch we've known since the iPhone 10 to this sort of combination of a pill hole punch cutout here, something very unique, very Apple on the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. And the theme here with the iPhone 14 seems to be pretty much an iPhone worth waiting for. If you've waited this long and you want the latest and greatest, the iPhone 14 is just expected to be a really good upgrade. We're talking again, that new design, you're gonna get that smaller notch on the front. The main camera is supposed to jump from 12 megapixels to 48 megapixels, which should be a really substantial upgrade and a really nice upgrade coming to your photos and videos. Of course, you're gonna get the newer A16 Bionic processor inside, some other smaller improvements, maybe more storage, stuff like that, camera upgrades. By all accounts, like I said, it's gonna be a really worthwhile upgrade, but sort of depends on where you're coming from if you should wait or not. If you've waited this long and you're okay waiting another 6 months, then I would probably wait for the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro, because we know, just like clockwork every single year, come September or October, there will be a new iPhone announced and launched, and the iPhone 14 shouldn't be an exception and shouldn't be launching sometime this fall. But if you've got an older iPhone, you've got a 10, a 10S, maybe a 6S or a 7, and you're sort of weighing your options and you don't really care about what's coming with the iPhone 14, then by all accounts, go with the iPhone 13. It's going to have a substantially better display, battery life should be crazy good, the camera is going to be a huge upgrade from what you've got right now. You don't have to wait for the iPhone 14. Let me be clear, if you don't care about the new design, you don't care about the latest and greatest bells and whistles, then by all accounts, don't feel like you have to wait for the iPhone 14. You can go with the iPhone 13 now and be perfectly happy. Rounding up a bit more of the rumors, let's talk about the MacBook Air, because this is another really important decision you've got to make. So, according to leaks and rumors, this new MacBook Air is also, like the Mac Mini and the iPhone 14, going to get a radical redesign. We're talking a very industrial design language with colors, a white accent on the keyboard and around the display. You've got a notch, a mini LED display, the M2 processor inside, MagSafe. This is going to be a really great update to the MacBook Air and probably worth waiting for. But some controversy here, because the M2 processor is supposed to be delayed in its launch until later on in the year, the MacBook Air will probably be delayed along with it until maybe WWDC in June, but more likely probably sometime in the fall at an iPhone event, or probably a separate event in September or October. So that's kind of difficult if you're weighing the pros and cons of buying a new laptop before you go back to school or you're heading off to college. Should you wait for this MacBook Air or go with the MacBook Air available right now? And that machine is still really good. It's got a bit of a dated design, but it's still got a really good keyboard. It's got that M1 chip inside. It's got a, relatively good screen. If you don't really care about the M2 processor and you don't care about colors, then the current MacBook Air should not be a bad way to go at all, especially if you don't want to wait for whenever the M2 MacBook Air is going to be released. It's also worth noting that according to some weird conflicting rumors, we have heard some info that a M2 MacBook Pro is going to launch at the spring event. This would be like a base version, sort of a replacement to the Touch Bar enabled 13-inch MacBook Pro that exists right now. What's also weird about this is that the M2 is supposed to be delayed until later on this year, so why would they release one M2 MacBook Pro and not the MacBook Air? Things are a little confusing on this front, but just thought I'd sort of throw that out there, that we could see a surprise MacBook Pro at the spring event, but doesn't really make a lot of sense with the other info we're getting from other sources. So that is sort of the best buying advice I could give to you guys right now. New iPhone SE 3 looks like it's definitely coming. New Mac Mini looks very likely. And around the corner, this new iMac Pro, the new MacBook Air, those are also coming as well, but those are gonna be later on this year with the new iPad Pro. So if you're looking for a new iPad Air, iPhone SE, or Mac Mini, definitely wait to see what Apple has up its sleeve at this March event. But beyond that, if you want the latest and greatest, you're gonna need to wait a little bit longer. And also for the iPhone 14, looks like a massive upgrade, but again, of course, not coming until later this fall. So as always, what are your guys' thoughts on this? What do you think is worth waiting for? Are you waiting for the iPhone 14? Are you going to upgrade to the iPhone 14 when it launches? Same for the new Mac Mini, the MacBook Air. Are you excited for the successors to the M1 to launch, the M2? Do you think it's worth waiting for? Or do you think you're just better off with the current crop of Apple products that are out right now and not worth waiting around to see if the leaks and rumors are going to be true? Let me know your thoughts down below. We can discuss. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. And also thank you, a belated thank you to the 100,000 subscribers. Where is it? Back there. We got our plaque, and I just want to say thank you again for all the support and love on this channel. Sincerely appreciate it. The team here is amazing, and we all sincerely appreciate you guys watching these videos. I know I do. So thank you from all of us here. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.